Welcome, Sacramento City Unified School District parents and guardians of students in kindergarten through 6th grade. We are excited to share with you changes to the elementary report card that are occurring as a result of the statewide implementation of the Common Core state standards. These changes will impact what you see on your child's report card beginning with the 2014-2015 school year. We believe the changes will provide you with more detailed information about your child's progress towards meeting the standards and will allow you to support your child's academic growth and development. In this video, we will cover 3 areas. First, we will introduce you to the new report card by highlighting some of the similarities and differences between the old and the new report card. We will then share with you some of the key features of standards-based grading. We will end with some ways you can use the new report card to support your child with meeting the standards. Now let's take a look at the new report card and discuss what is new and what remains the same. Take a look at the far left side of the report card, where you see the grading scales. The first major difference you will see on the report card is that there are different grading scales on the new report card. The first scale, Academic Performance Level for Standards Achievement, is numerical and based on the 4 levels of the new state assessment, the California Assessment of Student Progress and Performance, also known as the CASP. Students will receive a number mark of 4 for exceeding the standards, 3 for meeting the standards, 2 for progressing towards the standards, or 1 for minimal progress. This replaces the old scale of A for advanced, P for proficient, B for basic, BB for below basic, and FBB for far below basic. The headers exceed standards, meet standards, approaching standards, and minimal progress, etc. will be used to report on your child's achievement on the major areas for each subject, such as reading literature, writing, mathematics, science, physical education, etc. The second scale, Academic Performance Level for Learning Expectations, is an alpha scale and is used to show how students are progressing on a specific subscale and standards that fall under or describe each of the major areas that received a numeric grade. Students will receive an O for outstanding, an S for satisfactory, a P for progressing, an N for needs improvement, or an NA when not addressed on specific clusters under mathematics or substrands under reading literature. This detail is provided to help you understand your child's areas of strength and challenges for each subject area. You will see this illustrated more closely in a minute. The academic performance level for English learner proficiency is the same as that on the previous report card and indicates English learner performances on the California English Language Development Test, also known as the CELT. The last scale, academic performance level for service notifications, is the same as on the previous report card and indicates that a student is receiving certain services such as those for students identified as English learners, gifted and talented, or students with disabilities. This document provides more detailed information about the meaning of the score points on the grading scale. This scale will appear as a separate document and will be attached to your child's report card. Remember, the standards reflect end of the grade level expectations, or what the student should know and be able to do at the end of the year. The work the student will engage in over the year is designed to help them meet the standards by the end of the year. It is expected that most students will be working at the level of 2 for most of the year, as they will be learning and therefore approaching the standards. This indicates normal progress. Note that a 4 means that the student is consistently working above the grade level standards, or is working in the next grade level standards, and is doing so with independence, which means that he or she does not require a great deal of support. A score of 3 means that the student is meeting the grade level expectations consistently and requires minimal support. A score of 2 means that the student is approaching the grade level expectations and requires moderate support. A score of 1 means that the student is making minimal progress towards grade level expectations and requires significant support. NA means the content area is not addressed in the trimester or is not applicable at the grade level. This scale, Academic Performance Level for Learning Expectations, is used to show how students are progressing on specific subskills and standards for each area receiving a numeric mark. These marks provide greater detail on the areas of strength and challenges. We are advising teachers to provide 3 to 5 pieces of evidence to determine each mark of O for outstanding, S for satisfactory, P for progressing, and N for needs improvement. Note that the mark NA is used to indicate that certain areas were not addressed in that trimester or are not applicable to the grade level. These marks should not impact a student's overall mark in the area. The question is sometimes asked, should I be alarmed if my child is receiving a 2 in the first and second trimester? The answer is no. You should not be surprised if your child is receiving 2s during the first and second trimester, because the standards are end of the year expectations, and your child should be approaching the standards or scoring a 2 in the first and second trimester. This indicates that he or she is making expected progress. A score of 2 may also indicate that the standard has not yet been taught to its full level of depth and complexity during the marking period, so the student is making progress. Another question that is asked is, can my child receive a 3 or 4 in the first 2 trimesters? While this should be a rare occurrence, it is possible for a student to score a 3 or 4 in the first trimester. The student can earn 3 if their work consistently demonstrates that they have fully mastered the grade level standards. A student earns a mark of 4 if he or she is consistently working at the level of expectation of the next grade level standards. Again, these marks are not expected in the first or second trimesters, but may occur. Now let's take a look at where the items for the English Language Arts Standards document appear on the report card. The sample on this slide is for kindergarten, but is very similar to the other grade levels. The numeric mark is always recorded for the area with the word achievement in the title and is always in capital letters. For example, on this sample report card, you see Reading Literature Achievement, Reading Informational Text Achievement, Writing Achievement, Language Achievement, Speaking and Listening Achievement, and Foundations Achievement. These lines all receive a numeric grade, or a 4, 3, 2, or 1. Under each numeric mark, you see a title with the word expectation. For example, under Reading Literature Achievement, you see Reading Literature Expectations. Below this, you will see a list of sub-skills or expectations that students will meet to demonstrate the grade level standards for reading literature achievement. These include key ideas and details, craft and structure, integration of knowledge and ideas, and range of reading and text complexity. Each of these would receive an alpha mark of O for outstanding, S for satisfactory, P for progressing, N for needs improvement, or NA if the area has not been addressed in the trimester. Wherever you see the word expectation in the title, the skills underneath will be marked with an alpha mark as indicated here. Now let's take a look at where the items for the math standards document appear on the report card. The sample on this slide is for kindergarten, but is very similar to the other grade levels. Look on the slide for mathematics achievement. Overall mathematics achievement indicates how the student is doing in all of the areas for mathematics and is marked with a numeric grade: 4, 3, 2, 1. The other area for math that receives a numeric mark are the standards for mathematical achievement. These are the habits of the mind and the practices of a mathematical thinker. Let's take a look at the other areas on the report card. Similar to English Language Arts, you see areas with the word expectation in the title. These include operations and algebraic thinking expectations, numbers and operations and base 10 expectations, measurement and data expectations, and geometry expectations. Under this title, you will see the sub-skills and standards for each area. These are what students are expected to know and be able to do at the end of the year. These areas are always marked with an alpha mark, or an O for outstanding, S for satisfactory, P for progressing, N for needs improvement, or NA if the area is not addressed. Here is a sample of how the report card should be marked. Similar to English Language Arts and Math, Social Studies, Science, and PE are graded at the achievement level with a numeric grade of 4, 3, 2, or 1. Standards or content has been added under Social Studies expectations, Science expectations, Physical education expectations, and is graded with an alpha grade: O for outstanding, S for satisfactory, P for progressing, N for needs improvement, or NA if the area has not been addressed. Similar to the previous report card, this report card also provides feedback on student progress with behaviors that support learning, which are work habits or behavior marks. These have been revised to reflect the social-emotional learning competencies or skills. They are marked with an alpha grade of O for outstanding, S for satisfactory, P for progressing, or N for needs improvement. Student status and approaches to intervention is reorganized and renamed. These are marked with an X to indicate the status of the student or the approach being utilized. In the example on the screen, this student is working below grade level, which is marked with an X under the section titled Student Status, and is receiving small group instruction as indicated under the section Approaches to Interventions. The Special Programs section is marked with an X if the student is in one of the programs. In the example, the student is in the English Learner program and is receiving primary language support. The English Learner Proficiency section is marked with an X if the student redesignates as Fluent English Proficient, or RFEP, in the trimester. Otherwise, it is left blank. The CELT section is marked with the student's most recent score on the CELT, or the California English Language Proficiency Test. In this example on the slide, the student's CELT score is marked I for intermediate. The district has been engaged in standards-based grading for several years, even with the California state standards. We will now share with you some of the major differences between standards-based grading and traditional grading. The focus of standards-based grading is to provide feedback on where students are in relationship to the standards at a particular point in time. This feedback helps the student, the teacher, and parents or guardians to understand the areas of strength and the areas where the students may need additional support. With standards-based grading, not all assignments will be graded and count towards report card marks. Early attempts and practices should provide feedback. After a skill and concept have been taught and practiced, more recent work should be used for marks. Students should have multiple opportunities to master the standards and show what they know. 3 to 5 pieces of recent evidence should be used to determine report card marks. Finally, students need to be able to consistently show that they are able to meet the standard. Otherwise, their mark in that area should be a 2 for approaching the standards, or a P for progressing. To illustrate how standards-based grading works, we will show you an example of 3 students: Cinderella, Snow White, and Belle. These students have completed 7 assignments that reflect their performance on one of the areas graded for reading literature, key ideas and details. All of the assignments are graded on a 4-point scale, with a 4 meaning the student is exceeding the standards. Note that a 3 is mastery, or the score that indicates a student has met the standards. Remember, in standards-based grading, we are paying closer attention to the most recent evidence or work. Take a look at the 3 students. Cinderella, who is represented by the blue line, has scores that have been up and down, from a 4 to 1 and a 3 to a 2. Her last 3 scores indicate a downward trend. Snow White, who is represented by the orange line, started off weak but has progressed upward. Her most recent scores show mastery, and she is beginning to exceed the standards. The last student, Belle, whose scores are represented by the gray line, started off strong, but her most recent work indicates that she is not meeting the standards. In traditional grading, teachers would take the average of the scores to determine a student's marks. Take a look at the averages for each student. Which students would pass and which students fail if these were traditional grades? If these were traditional classrooms, all of the students would receive a failing mark. In standards-based grading, teachers do not average scores to determine grades, but look at trends over time, with closer attention paid to the most recent evidence. In this example, Snow White is the only student who has consistently demonstrated that she has met the standards. How can you use the new reporting system to help your child? Standards-based report cards provide detailed information about how a child is doing in each subject. Parents will be able to see whether students need extra assistance in certain areas or whether they need to be challenged even more. By using these clearly defined standards, teachers and parents can work together to ensure that students succeed. During parent-teacher conferences, ask to see samples of your child's work. Talk to his or her teacher about whether the work samples are satisfactory or how your child could have done better on the assignment. Ask how you can help your child improve or excel in various subjects and what resources are available to use outside the classroom to encourage his or her progress. We are excited to bring you this new report card system and believe that the information it provides will keep you better informed about your child's progress towards meeting the standards in all subject areas. We look forward to implementing it this school year. We encourage you to have conversations with your child's teacher about their performance and learn as much as you can about the new Common Core state standards. More information can be found at the Sacramento City Unified School District website at www.scusd.edu/Common Core.